An excavation team discovers terrifying ancient beasts after an explosion buries them underground. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I'm going to recap a 2015 Chinese 3D adventure action film called Chronicles of the Ghostly Tribe. The movie is about a young soldier who is working in China's snow-capped Kunlun Mountains when an explosion reveals bizarre fossils hidden deep in the mountain caverns. What they next discover will change his life and human history forever. So without further ado, let's find out if the professor leading the excavation has an ulterior motive. The movie begins with a voiceover revealing how strange things have been discovered in China over the years during various excavations. Professor Yang Kailin is one of the scientists involved, and in 1978, he established Post 749 in the Kunlun Mountains, a special team assigned to uncover the hidden truth behind these mysterious discoveries. Hu Baiyi is one of the many soldiers putting much effort into the excavation and befriends Yang Ping, the professor's daughter. After the team's acquisition of yet another enormous skull from a mysterious beast, a flame starts burning inside the cave that eventually causes the cave to tremble and then explode, wrecking their entire camp. Hu Baiyi narrowly escapes death, after which Officer Han Jiangyang, leading the soldiers, prepares their weapons to retaliate. But only Professor Yang and a few workers emerge from the cave. Later that night, Officer Han Jiangyang forbids everyone from talking about the incident with any outsider, before announcing that a special team will be sent in with Professor Yang to investigate, since a path has opened up inside the mountain. Naturally, Yang Ping wants to help her dad, which also makes Hu Baiyi and Cheng Sun volunteer for the job. The group enters the cave and proceeds along the path until they arrive at the place where the explosion happened. Soon, they notice gigantic statues looking down on them, and the professor claims that an undiscovered civilization has emerged because of the explosion. As they climb down the chasm, Hu Baiyi notices a butterfly-like creature flying around. Eventually, they reach an icy platform with a second chasm in the center, so they descended as well, until they come across an unexplored cave filled with fossils. Soon, they find an exit that leads them to a snow-capped mountain range right in front of them. Professor Yang informs Hu Baiyi that legends claim that this region opens a gate to an ancient ghostly realm where the secrets of the ghostly kingdom are buried. Their conversation is cut short when the soldiers inform them of a massive paw print in the snow. Assuming that the creature might be around, Professor Yang and his men start tracing the trail of paw prints to find the creature that left them, while Han and the rest of the team finish putting in a door at the mountain entrance. They soon notice a swarm of strange-looking bats that Yu Huai also saw in the cave. One of them lands on Yang Pin's sleeve, and nothing happens. But when one of the soldiers catches one of them with his bare hands, the victim suddenly begins to burn with a blue flame until only his bones are left. The soldiers start shooting to scare the bats away, yet many soldiers get burned to death. Things get worse when the giant beast triggers an avalanche and the group starts running away from the mountain. Unfortunately, the snow engulfs many of the soldiers. Meanwhile, the rest of the group is unable to continue as they arrive at yet another chasm. There is nothing left for them to do but jump. So Professor Yang ties Hu Baiyi and his daughter together to keep them safe. They slide down the chasm and enter a ditch with ice needles that stab the remaining soldiers. The only people who manage to survive are Hu Baiyi and Yang Ping, who eventually drop, and the rope catches on a big ice needle. They swing back and forth a few times before the ice breaks, causing the two of them to fall. The scene changes to Hu Baiyi confessing how he managed to survive the fall while dozing off on a train. It is then revealed that only 4 members of the group were able to survive the incident. The now very small team lights some torches and continues their exploration after collecting as many supplies as they could. They soon come across what Professor Yang refers to as the Sacred Palace of Kunlun, a massive cave with a tall tower inside and surrounded by building ruins. Professor Yang has been searching for this tower for a long time because it is said to have 9 levels where demon creatures have been sealed. Professor Yang kneels before lighting a candle that produces a strange tall flame that attracts a swarm of bats who then surround the tower in a red glow. Next, Professor Yang sends Hu Bai and his daughter inside the tower because he thinks only the two of them can open the portal. As they enter, the space begins to glow as light emerges from the top of the tower and opens a portal in the sky for the spirits to enter. Everything in the surroundings starts to float while the spirits fill up the cave. That's when Kang's son extinguishes the candle because he doesn't like the idea of opening the devil's gates. Everything suddenly vanishes. The group rushes out because the cave is about to collapse, and they don't want to run into the rocks or the bats that are now chasing them. Kang's son gives himself up and stays behind to act as bait, dying from the blue fire of the bats and killing a number of them by causing an explosion. However, there are still a number of bats roaming around, and they chase the remaining 3. They manage to escape, but they eventually find themselves at a dead end next to a waterfall. As Hu Bai tries to fend off the bats with a torch, they catch up with him and light a fire on his shoulder. To put out the fire, Yang Ping pushes him over the edge into the water, and the other 2 quickly follow. When Hu Bai and Yang Ping come together underwater, a large dinosaur-like creature quickly separates them before snatching Yang Ping up in its mouth and carrying her off. Hu Bai, who is devastated, swims out and makes his way back to base. A nurse attends to the burn on his shoulder. Officer Han informs him that they have found the dead bodies of a few soldiers, but there's no trace of Yang Ping and the professor. After looking at the photo of the group they took before the expedition, Hu Bai gives up and decides to leave. While riding the train back home, he keeps picturing Kang's son and the other members with him, but gets heartbroken when the illusion fades. So while Officer Han and Scientist Chen Dong are looking for Hu Bai, he exits the train at a station close to the countryside and is picked up by his new employer, Mr. Wang. To lead a peaceful life away from life-threatening creatures, Hu Bai then starts working at Mr. Wang's library. Later, Mr. Wang takes Hu Bai to a nearby restaurant for lunch, where Hu Bai is thrilled to meet his old friend Wang Kaishuan. Hu Bai believes Mr. Wang purposely drove him there. While working at the library, Hu Bai discovers a book on Professor Yang's research named Chronicles of the Ghostly Tribe that includes a drawing of the Demon Tower. That's when Hu Bai realizes that it wasn't the professor's first trip to the tower, and that unsealing the Demon Pagoda was the professor's actual goal on the expedition. He was also aware of the fact that only Hu Bai and Yang Ping could open the portal, which is why he tried to keep them together and safe. The scene changes to a news broadcast revealing that the explorers have discovered a coffin at post 749 containing the body of a person who resembles Yang Ping. They will keep her locked up and under close observation while providing her with treatment for the time being, because she appears to have some mysterious powers that she is unable to control. And since she has no memory of Yang Ping, Officer Han names her the codename Shirley. Back at the library, Hu Bai continues to receive Professor Yang's books. Hu Bai develops a fascination with these legends and spends months researching them with Wang Kaishuan's help. It is revealed that the demon world once had a humanoid race whose origins were from Saturn. They are both the demons' and human successors, and the tower is their legacy. The tower was supposed to be guarded, but 10,000 years ago, humans finally freed themselves, and this race vanished from Earth. However, he still has some unanswered questions, such as how Yang Ping and he were able to open the tower, why the professor even wanted to open it, and who is sending him all these books. Officer Han is shocked to learn that Professor Yang has been found alive in the mountains about 3 years later. The professor is being held in confinement until he gets back to his senses. In the meantime, the mysterious giant beasts are attacking Oil City in West China. Later, the professor reveals that the incident in West China has something to do with the pagoda in the Kunlun Mountains. He's also worried that he might have accidentally opened a portal that allows aliens to enter the Earth. On the other hand, Hu Bai's shoulder scars started bothering him after this incident, and his visit to the doctor revealed his location to Han. One afternoon, Hu Bai's shoulder pain becomes so severe that it suddenly ignites a fire on his back, giving him superhuman ability